friends.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back. How are you? Say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're joining us from. We'd love to know who we're chatting with. But how are you this week?
Peachy dandy.
Peachy dandy. Can't beat that.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I actually I'm so excited. And you know when you're getting old, when you're really excited, like genuinely excited for stupid old people things. You hold me coffee for a second? I got these for my plantar fasciitis. Old lady problems. I've gotten really excruciating heel pain though. It's just gotten worse. I thought it was bruised heel syndrome at first, but then like I took a couple weeks off because we're walking like 4 or 5 miles a week. And I thought, oh, maybe I'm just getting to the point. Maybe my shoes aren't supportive enough and I'm just going to point. But then I take like 2 weeks off. And it's still some days I wake up and like it's hard to walk across my house. It hurts so much. So I got gel inserts for my shoes and I got these to wear around the house. And I'm genuinely excited to like maybe be able to walk without like pain. So pretty good. I'm pretty peachy. Peachy dandy, as one might say.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we head into, we were thinking about chatting today about not so much preparing for fall specifically, but we were just thinking about that like transition of a season. And so you start recognizing the signs of like, okay, summer's winding down, fall is, kitty cats. Fall is approaching. And so I'm just curious, what are some of the things that you notice? Because I feel like already I'm seeing some of those signs. And you look around like that, you're like, oh, okay, summer's coming to a wrap. Is there anything that like stands out to you, or did I just like put you on the spot? And you're like, I have no idea.
A little bit, just because for me, summer is still like in full swing, and like it's just hampered right now because of all the fires. Yeah, and so like the air quality is bad, but it's like still really hot, and I don't know. I'm having a hard time
wrapping your brain around
really wrapping my brain. Partly because for me, fall signals that winter's coming, and I do not like winter.
It's true.
I mean, I like some of the aspects of that happen in winter, but I just
overall
don't like being cold.
And it does get cold.
So I mean, I've definitely seen the signs the couple times I've been out in the stores with all their
back to school.
Beyond back to school, Halloween and Christmas.
Is there Christmas? Really?
There's Christmas out already in like when I was in like Hobby Lobby or Michael's, one or both of those. I mean, Halloween is kind of, they were kicking 4th of July to the curb.
Right.
So it's been a few weeks. They were kicking 4th of July to the curb, and get your cat.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I can't flip it. Okay, hang on. I'm going to show you guys.
So funny.
So funny. Look at her. You're so silly. Princess.
No, she's not.
She's comfortable. She likes to lay when we water.
Paid enough to be on camera.
Yeah, above my pay grade. You don't get talking points. She likes to lay where the wet spots are. That's super cute.
Yeah. So I have seen that.
The shift
in that. I don't know. I'm not really seeing it in the trees and stuff yet, other than
the burnt edges.
The
dried out end of summer look. But before the leaves start naturally dying.
But I wasn't, well, I guess I was here this time last year, but I don't know. I wasn't in fall mode for sure.
Yeah. I do think that, having been here for a good 5 years now, I do start to recognize that, we're heading towards back to school times. You've got them, and we go back to school earlier than we did where I grew up. And so it definitely is like back to school season. So you see it at the stores a little bit, although I try to avoid those as much as possible. But I also recognize it in the shift. You see all this summer, we like going to the free events and the festivals and the summer programs, and all of that's kind of coming to a wrap over this next week. And so I think that is one of those big signifiers for me. It's like, okay, kids are going to start heading back to school, and that just shifts everything. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to notice at the grocery stores, it's going to be different. The parks are going to be different. Just all those rhythms start to change.
Yeah,
And so
for sure. I think
I do start to see it, although we are just hitting the really peak.
I probably was more
Heat.
in tune to that when I had kids.
Yeah, you're definitely in a different season where you're just looking at the weather, and the weather is peak summer, and it's going to be peak summer for another month. It always kind of, I feel sad for the kids who have to go back and sit in classrooms when the weather is just so
That's just bogus.
beautiful.
I've always thought, to me, the trade-off of getting out in May is like having to go back in August.
Because the weather's still mediocre.
Especially like when we were in Washington, because August was usually the best month.
The month to go camping, all that stuff, yeah. So I definitely see it. I start seeing it in the shifts. I also, because August is, generally speaking, one of the hottest months for me, as the heat hits that consistently over 100 degrees, I know, like, okay, we're hitting that last push where it's just going to be horrifically hot, and then it's going to get cold, and then it's going to get dark, and we're going to struggle with depression for a month or two, and then it's going to start to warm up. Like, that's just the rhythm. So I do see it more having been here longer, and I think having kids, I recognize the seasons.
Like it. I don't like it a lot.
They're very dark. I always say, like, skip the Christmas parties. Do a January, like a late January doldrums party. Because late January to early February, it's just gray. Because of the living in a valley, the whatever happens, my brain has blanked that. But inversion, I think is what it's called. Oh my goodness. I think she just realized her leg was wrapped around a pole and like was like, whoa, what's happening? But it just turns gray. Just not blue, not white, gray all the time. And that's a rough month. But arguably that's the seasonal depression that I had year round in Washington. So it's a trade-off.
Less now.
Yeah. So I recognize the change. And I start thinking about, I think that it makes me more start thinking about, like, you know, as we enter another season, it's noticing time pass. What did I read? There's something that was, I think it was in my church history book I was reading, which I did finish, because it was a tome. It was like that thick. But they referenced the shift. It was during the Industrial Revolution, I believe, where everybody moved into factories. And there was that shift from operating from sunrise to sunset and operating on seasons. And now it was like, we light candles, we light torches, we light lights, we whatever, and we work whenever. And that it was a cultural shift for them. And I just see us living that now. And I'm trying really hard with my kids. I'm blessed to be able to homeschool. And so to be really intentional about, like, let's notice the season change. And let's have things that change, you know, in the summer versus the fall versus the winter, the spring, that really acknowledge that natural timekeeping that God gave us of, you know, the sun goes down sooner, like we wrap up our day earlier. We don't stay up super late. Maybe we stay up later in the summer. Bedtimes are later because the sun is still up. So we're up. So I think that there's beauty in just kind of watching the seasons more than the stores, more than the calendars, watching the seasons and the weather to kind of recognize when it's time to shift things and shift our routines. And you know, for us, it's been a long year. I had a friend point out the other day, for me especially, I had, not this last December, but the previous, my husband went through a health scare, and I didn't know, there was a point in the process where I did not know when my husband was coming home, if he was coming home, what that was going to look like. And I remember calling my parents. I'd left the hospital one night to come home and be with the kids because it'd been like a week dropping around my kids, and they were needing me. And so I left the hospital and I came home, and I called them on the phone, just wrecked, sobbing, and felt so utterly alone. And I, you know, we came through that. My husband came home. He recovered. Praise the Lord. And we had a really beautiful, you know, year. He was still working on recovery. He's still working on recovery. And then, you know, losing my dad, it's kind of been like, we're at over 365 days of just dealing with like heavy stuff. that has made it really hard to focus on like regular living. And I do feel myself a little bit starting to, reinvigorate towards rhythms and structure and everyday living just in a really healthy pattern. I don't achieve it every day, but I do find myself like finally moving towards that, which has been nice. You seem deep in thought over there.
I am. Sorry.
So you're chatting with myself. I mean, I know you're listening because you're like headlines and stuff, but I'm like, you're so quiet.
Yeah. Kind of went somewhere else.
Anything you want to share with the class, or do you want me to just okay?
I'll share later, but not right now.
Someday you guys will get it. Sometimes we have to process a little more before we want to share it. I'm sure you understand. Well, I think that one of the things too with the changing of seasons for me too is also like a really big time to kind of purge and clean. And a lot of people do spring cleaning, but I don't really wait that long because we have a lot of people living in my little house, and so if we waited that long, we would be consumed by the mess. So it's kind of almost seasonally for me. I find myself just naturally, it's not really intentional, but naturally, just yesterday, my mom came in to me rearranging half of my house, and there was just stuff everywhere, and just took her back to, when I was a kid, and she would do stuff like that. But just, moving furniture, shaking things up, making it work best for our family, getting rid of things we don't need. It's a really good time, I think, when you start to recognize the signs, because with every season change, there's stuff with it. Mm-hmm. Going into fall, we have back to school, and then we have all the holidays. As we roll into winter, we've got, Christmas and New Year's and all that. And then we roll into spring, and we've got like Easter, Mother's Day, like spring break. And then we go towards summer, we've got like summer break and all those things. And, that's kind of relying on a school schedule, but even with our work schedules and everything else, I think each season kind of brings its own things that require busyness and attention. And so as we notice the season winding down, there's usually like a lull, and taking advantage of that lull to evaluate, like, are there things in my life that aren't serving my family anymore, or not serving myself anymore? And what can I let go of, or what can I make work better? And so, I mean, there are pieces of furniture in my house, just talking about furniture, that I have moved around to 4 different rooms, because in this season, it's going to serve me really well here. And then it just doesn't serve me as well. Like, our lives shift, something changes. I don't need it in there anymore. So I move it somewhere else. And so I think that in all aspects of our lives, we can take that time to pause and reflect on, like, is something serving me well here, or do I need to move it somewhere else? Does it need a different priority in a different place in my life?
For sure. Yeah, I think for me, these couple of years are kind of an anomaly for me.
Right.
Just because of the season I'm in, and I don't have the commitments of family and homeschool, all those things.
You've kind of been freed from all of those.
Yeah. And so I think for me, it's kind of I think less about the change. Like right now, it's like trying to get my brain to wrap around that. Like I said, the biggest thing I think about is, fall coming means cold. That was the first thing that came to my mind was, winter's coming right behind. And I'm like, okay, stop it. It's not even August. Or it's August now.
Yeah.
It's like, so, well, but for sure, I agree. Like in years past, and probably in years future on some different level, just I agree with that 100%. I think you're all the time that taking stock of what in your life is serving you, and the change that time before you're delving into the new season is a perfect time to evaluate, whether it be like the things you're going to need for the upcoming season to be prepared. Because, like, okay, well, I mean, we're going back to the stores, but, back to school. It's like, I mean, when you guys were growing up, I always took advantage of those back to school sales, and I stocked up, because if you go to buy the same notebook in January, you're going to pay way more. Yeah. And so, taking stock of the things you're going to need, the clothing that, you're going to
Well,
need for the
yeah.
new season. So there's all those practical aspects as well.
But even like I think about, there's this opportunity when it comes to home decorating.
Mm-hmm.
As we put away, we always have advocated having very transitional home decor in the sense of like, we don't have a bunch of throw pillows for each season. We have a throw pillow for our couch that has like covers that rotate with the season. So things like that, or like certain elements that create kind of that effect of decorating for a season without having totes and totes in your, storage, just weighing you down of like 1,000 decorations. So you have a few key pieces that you rotate through. But I think about even, as we clean up from one season and we put it away, what things did we really enjoy that season? And what things maybe didn't serve us as well? And tucking it away. And it's also a really good time to notice, like, I realized this year we have a lot. 40 feet or more of chain link fence bordering our property. And how pretty it would be if we did the bunting for 4th of July with the flags.
I was just going to say.
So pretty. Like, wasted space. And I thought, I want flags. So, like, even that, thinking about, like, what did service or didn't service, but maybe what do I want to add?
Yeah, well, yeah. And, unfortunately, the way retail moves at the speed of light, you almost have to figure that out at the beginning of the season so that you can snatch it up before they transition out. But, yeah, I agree. Figuring out, like...
I put my mic so much.
Figuring out...
Go ahead.
Figuring out.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for going to my mic. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I'm so
just
sorry.
Figuring out, what, again, like you said, if this didn't serve you well, why box it back up for next year? Just get it on out. And if you can, if you're still able to get what would work well for you.
Well, and I do think that some of that comes from where you're shopping at too. If you're shopping at your regular big box retailers, yeah, you do kind of have to shop early. But honestly, if you're shopping yard sales, which we did a lot of this summer, or if you're shopping thrift stores or boutiques and things like that, what you're going to find is actually they're going to hope to maximize their sales all the way up, and it's going to be after the holiday that they start selling.
True.
So there's still the opportunity to pick up some really good items and just look around. You never know when you're going to pick it up. So adding it to the list before you pack up. And then as we unpack, thinking about like, as I start to think about bringing out my decor for the fall, like what stuff have I had packed up? I have a home, we've lived very transitionally for a lot of years until we bought our home. And even this home, I thought like, oh, but someday I might have a bigger house. And there's certain things I really love that I want to keep for that house. That being said, like you can only, and I'm not saying don't keep stuff because I'm keeping stuff for my someday bigger house, but only keep the really special things. And so how many things have I had boxed up for years that I'm not using? Like I did a deep purge of our Christmas stuff this last year because I had like 3 totes worth of stuff that we hadn't put out once since we moved here because there's just not enough space. I was like, this is silly. Keep my favorites, get rid of the rest. And so I think there's that opportunity too as we think about bringing out the decorations for this season is being intentional about like, what have I actually used? What have I actually enjoyed? Maybe I go ahead and sell that stuff because before the season starts is the right time to sell. To get, top dollar if you're going to list it on Marketplace or whatever. So yeah, purging and thinking about what you want.
Well, and I
when
think
it comes to decor is valuable.
I mean, on a deeper level is, internally, what are the things, that you want to leave in this season of your life? What, not just looking at the things that served you well in this season going into the next, but looking at the attitudes or the habits or the behaviors or the thoughts or, whatever it may be. Season is a good time to transition, to start something new. If you've been following something that just isn't really working for you,
let it go
and start something new. It's a good opportunity.
Yeah. I like it. I think that, as we look at even, pulling back from just this season, but to also, we're winding down. We're heading into our third 3 out of 4. So we're on our wind down of 2026. We've passed the middle point. And so I think about even what are some things, even more fun we've had. When I first moved here, my mom signed us up for this subscription service for craft projects that they mailed you like once a month, once a quarter. I don't remember, but they mailed you these craft projects. And so she signed both of us up so we could craft with each other over long distance. And dude, we
did it too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We never did it. And so we've had these bags of craft projects.
Everything you need is pretty much everything you need is in it.
And we've been toting them around, storing them and whatever. And so that was something we had decided last year we were going to do, and we didn't finish, but I really am optimistic for this year. Because we actually thought about it. Like going into this next season, we were like, okay, like let's look at our calendar and think about it. And I'm like, let's set for like 2 days a week. 1 day a week we do something that we really want to do, that we're really excited about, whether it be, right now it's been watercolor, trying to learn new things, watercoloring, but whatever it is. And then 1 day a week we do one of those projects. And so I think this year we'll actually be able to finish those and then not have this like thing we're still lugging around. So if there's anything that you've thought about this year that maybe something you meant to do this year but you haven't, this is a really good opportunity to be like, you know what, let's make an action plan.
Get her done or get her gone.
Yeah, get it on the calendar, figure it out and do it, or maybe we just let it go.
Yeah.
Because if you really don't want to do it, you're not like, if you really want to do it, you're gonna make time for it. And if you don't make time for it, then maybe you don't really want to do it, and just let yourself off the hook. Set yourself free to do something that you do want to do, that you will love. Exactly. Nobody cares. It's not that big of a deal. Do what you want. Do what makes you happy, what brings you joy. Do what you feel called to do. But don't should yourself.
None of that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of our thoughts as we think about like the season change, both metaphorically, spiritually, religiously, personally, physically, metaphysically.
All the isicles,
yes. As we think about like when the seasons change, and as we're heading towards, it's just the start of the end of year conversations we have. But, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about what do you recognize as signs that the season is changing, and like what does that make you think of?
And it's never too early to start, thinking about the next year coming too. Because the thing that I learned being in retail is that you kind of have to, before fourth quarter hits, you kind of have to already have a handle on everything you're doing in it and looking into the next year, because once fourth quarter hits, it's the height of Thanksgiving, that's Christmas, that's the whole season.
Retail or not, it's the
busy time of year, exactly. So there's, all the school programs, all the, parties, whatever, la da 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 da. So it's never really too early to start thinking about how intentional ways you want to start the new year, or how you want to approach the holiday season. And I think before, diving back into back to school and into the holidays shortly after that, it's a good time to start. Even just if it's just, a little bit of mulling going on in the back of your brain. You don't have to get it down on paper, but it's never too early to start thinking about it. And as summer's still winding down.
There's still time.
You've got that time sitting out, enjoying the sun.
If you haven't done that,
thinking about
do
days
that.
ahead.
Yeah, I think, we're always, taking time to think and be intentional, because time passes. I think that was one thing that struck out to me earlier when you were talking about in the season of life that you're in, you've had such a reset that you don't really have all these like social commitments or people commitment or familial commitments, that like for you, the passing of the seasons aren't necessarily a thing, but that if you don't, because it would be really easy in your season to just let time pass, it will just slip away.
Right.
In any season, I mean, in my season of busyness with all the commitments, it can pass just because I'm not paying attention.
Right.
But just as much as for you in that season, if there's nothing to really like force you to notice, force you to do things, you could just months could just tick off the calendar like nothing. And so I think that it's always really important to just think about it and think about, how are we spending our time? How do we want to be spending our time? Because the urgent will always take over the important every single time. And that's a constant battle we've had to wrestle through the years of, wait, that's urgent, not important. Okay, I need to go back to what's important. And the next thing you know, wait. All this stuff taking over is urgent, not important. Oh, bring it back to what's important. Yeah. So it's this constant tug of war with what's urgent versus what's important. And
for sure,
if you're not careful, the urgent will take over everything and ruin it all. Yeah. So don't let it do that for you guys.
It likes to be the star of the show.
Yes,
Center
it does.
stage.
Yes, it does. We hope you guys have a beautiful day wherever you are, that you're enjoying the sunshine. Let us know what you think in the comments. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye, friends.